What's up, guys? We are back again with our partners over at FANATICS Sportsbook and talking FANCASH. Now, most sports books, their rewards are just fluff, but FANCASH is the ultimate sports currency. When you bet with FANATICS Sportsbook, you get up to 10% FANCASH back on your wagers, win or lose. Did we mention that they are giving away millions in FANCASH this year and that you can use that FANCASH on anything in the FANATICS universe? Go check it out yourself and download the app today. FANATICS Sportsbook. Winning hits different here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to KFS Weekly Wagers. I am Shawn for W. That is Mensa Smith. And we're here to talk about the world of betting from a Knicks perspective. Mensa, how are you doing on this fine? We're recording this on Monday. You're seeing this on Tuesday, but how are you doing on Monday?
A rare victory Monday for my New York Jets, the first one of the season. And it took, even though the Jets had a 7-week head start on the New York Knicks, the Knicks got 2 wins before the Jets got 1. But we're not going to let that bring us down. We're really happy today. I know the Knicks lost yesterday in Miami, but hey, it's really difficult to win a Sunday night game in Miami because the Knicks were in Miami Saturday night. And you saw Jordan Clarkson, you saw Gershon Yabusele. Cat couldn't get it. You know, I don't know what they did on Saturday night, but it looked pretty apparent on Sunday against the Heat. But either way, I'm in good spirits and I'm happy to recap the week that was in Knicks betting land. How about you, Shawn?
I'm ready to do that as well. I think you and I had a bit of chatting back and forth via text about you were on. No, I'm gonna give you props because you was on this early. Like, this is a Sunday game in Miami, which means they were in Miami on Saturday night. And I said, well, it is a 6 p.m. start, so that should give enough time for the hangover to subside. I'm not going to shout the dude who replied to you who suggested other nefarious things. I'm like, come on, dog. Don't do that. But apparently 6 p.m. was not enough time, especially for certain players who we shall not name. But overall, it was a winning week for the New York Knicks on the scoreboard, going 2-1. And on the betting side of things, the Knicks against the spread went 2-1. They covered against the Cleveland Cavaliers, 119-111. That spread was they covered. The Cavs were favored by 1.5 points. And they covered against Boston, who were getting 4.5 points. The Knicks won that game 105-95. And as Mensa alluded to, the Knicks lost in Miami 115-107. They were 3.5 point favorites, so they did not cover. So obviously, for the money line, they went 2-1 as well. And for the over-under, they went 1-2. They did not hit the over. They did not hit the over against Boston. They did not hit the over against. They did not hit the over against Miami. They did hit the over by 0.5 point against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that's the recap in Knicks land. Mensa, any takeaways so far in terms of anything you have your eye on after these 3 games from a betting perspective? Right, at a team level, and then we'll dive into player specific stuff in a bit.
Well, I don't want to spoil the show, our segment, but I do believe that the New York Knicks have like a bottom 10 offense right now and a top 5 defense. Mm-hmm. I don't expect either of those things to trend. I think that the Knicks are missing shots that they will hit during the season. And I think the Knicks defense may not be as stout just looking at the personnel. I'm looking at you, Karl Towns and Jalen Brunson not being the strongest defenders in the world. But I do believe that there's some things that we can look forward to seeing and counting on this betting season with the New York Knicks for sure.
Absolutely. And hopefully those things, there'll be plenty of opportunities for us to take advantage of that, not only just on this show, but on our weekly show, Betting and Sweating, and doing a quick recap of how we're doing there. These are the standings. So for those who do not know, the way our scoring system works is you get 1 point for a spread, money line, or total bet, 2 points for the yacht bet, 3 points for a parlay, 4 points for which should be no more than 3 legs, 4 points for your home run bet, which has to be at least plus 300, 5 points for your best bet, and then you get 1 point for an out of town spread, money line, or total, and 2 points for a out of town prop. I'm kicking everyone's ass.
Clearly,
I have 24 points. Now, to be fair, We have had 4 shows because we've had 3 shows. And I was the only one that's appeared twice. Everyone's appeared once. So because I'm a fair person and I want to give everyone a chance to catch up, I'm probably going to sit out the next 2 shows. So that will give the others to catch up. So we have Jeff at 7 points. So I have 24 points. Then Jeff's at 7. Andrew's at 5. Mensa and John are at 2. But again, we have time to catch up because there's literally 79 games left. And which reminds me, if you're crashing out about the Knicks after game 3, touching grass may not be enough for you. Simple as that.
Please seek help.
Exactly. All right. So let's dive into what to look for this week. And what Mensa and I are going to do is we're going to look at some stats, some player stats, some player performances and team performances. And we want to decide if this is a trend or if this is a flash. So if this is a trend, this is something that we want to keep our eye on when we're looking to bet on the Knicks this week. If it's a flash, like a flash in the pan, then it's something we may want to avoid betting on because you don't want to spend money chasing the outlier, right? So first up, the first trend we have is a player trend. It is our man, no, my man, your man, and by your man I mean Mensa's man because he's the defender of all things Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns is averaging 14 rebounds a game, which is second in the NBA. Mensa, is this a trend or is this a flash in the pan?
I'm going to go, it's a trend. Karl-Anthony Towns is an elite with a capital E defensive rebounder in the NBA. And the way Mitchell Robinson is looking right now, we don't know when he's going to come back. And on top of that, I just think Mitchell Robinson is not as great a defensive rebounder as Karl Towns. He's a much better offensive rebounder. So even when they do share the court, I expect the lion's share of the defensive rebounds to go to one Karl-Anthony Towns. I think it's a trend. He averaged 12.3 rebounds last year as a New York Knick, and he literally just got off the plane and started hooping. He didn't have a training camp or anything with us. Well, the day before the season started, I should say, is when he came. So he's a lot more comfortable in New York now. And I think we're going to see a bit more of Karl Towns as a rebounder. There's a new coach, new system in place. Will it be 14 rebounds the entire season? There's no way for you to know that. But will Karl-Anthony Towns be a top 5 rebounder in the NBA? I think we can count on that for sure.
So I'm with you. I don't know if 14 rebounds a game is going to be the norm, but I think being definitely top 10, maybe even top 5 for sure, that's definitely possible. I'm looking this up. I'm going to look this up right here. It looks like Karl Towns last year averaged exactly. I had this right here. He averaged,
I think it's 12.3. 12.8. Okay.
12.8, which I believe put him in the top. It has to be top 10 for sure. Rebounds,
easily.
Right here. He was not total rebounds per game. He was second in the league at 12.8. So I'm with you. I don't know if 14 is going to be the number, but I think top 5, top 3 is going to be the number. So to the bettors out there, listen, if you can get Karl-Anthony Towns at 12 rebounds a game, 13 rebounds a game at plus money, or like a minus 105, like a minus 110, that's something you should absolutely consider. Next trend or flash. Now, my man, your man, and again, because Mensa is defender of all things orange and blue, the captain, Jalen Brunson, is averaging 30.3 points per game. He is 9th in the NBA in scoring. Mensa, is this a trend or is this a flash?
So it's a little bit of both. I want to say scoring 30.3 points per game and only being 9th in the league. I don't expect that to be there. But I will say that Jalen Brunson getting a lion's share of the buckets, doing a lot of scoring, is a trend. Will he be at 30 points per game all season? Again, you cannot say this early in the season, but will Jalen Brunson be leading the New York Knicks in scoring? Absolutely a trend. I know we want to believe in the Mike Brown share all offense and everything. At the end of the day, coaches coach and shooters shoot. And Jalen Brunson is going to shoot that thing all season long. I like Jalen Brunson to lead the Knicks in scoring. I expect him to be top 10 in the league in scoring when it's all said and done. Again, will that be at 30.3 points per game? We don't know. He is shooting more threes now, shooting a lot more threes this season. So it is possible that we will see him average a career high at that 30 plus points per game. But I don't want to guarantee that so early in the season. It's only been 3 games, but yes, this is a trend. But I don't think that if he's scoring 30 points per game, I expect him to be a little bit higher than 9th in the league.
Absolutely. So for reference, last year, Jalen Brunson averaged 26 points per game, which was 8th in the league. The people in front of him, Kate Cunningham at 7, that might stay the same. Kevin Durant at 6 at 26.6. With the rise of Alperen Sengun in Houston, maybe that number drops off a little bit. Jason Tatum, 26.8 points per game. I think it's safe to say that he will be leapfrogging him this season. Anthony Edwards, who we just received word, again, we're recording on Monday, will miss the next 2 weeks, including his only visit to Madison Square Garden this year, which is next Wednesday, which stinks. He was at 27.6 last year. So maybe Brunson will jump him at some point. Then you have Jokic, Giannis, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 29.6, 30.4, and 32.7 respectively. I don't think Jalen Brunson can average 30 points a game, especially in this egalitarian offense. Now, to your point, down the stretch, Brunson's getting the goddamn ball, right? And you put the ball in the hands of your best player. But maybe you're going to see, I think you're going to see 35, 40, 45 point games from Brunson, obviously, right? So I think the key is for Brunson over the next few weeks is, if you think instead of just betting whatever number whatever number you're getting for like minus 110 or minus 105, say like, oh, this is a good opportunity. This is a good opportunity against, for example, the next Monday, they're playing the Wizards. Maybe look at Brunson 30 plus. What I would say is look at the days where Brunson getting 30 plus is plus money. And those may be the days. And then look at the opponent as well. Like, for example, against Washington, 30 might be might be negative because it's freaking Washington. But that's something to keep in mind. Like, he can get to 30 on any single night. He has the ball in his hands. He's a top 5 MVP candidate as far as I'm concerned. That'll happen. So, all right, next, let's go to some team trends to discuss. So the New York Knicks, and Mensa, you alluded to this in your intro, are averaging 110 3 points per game, which is 27th in the association. Is this a trend or is this a flash?
Flash. The Knicks right now are shooting, I think, between 46 and 47 threes a game, which is another trend that we're going to discuss. But essentially, the Knicks have too much talent offensively. You don't have 2 All-NBA basketball players, specifically because of what they do on the offensive side of the basketball, and expect the Knicks to be a bottom 5 offense. It's just not going to happen, especially with these new Mike Brown principles. What's happening here, the reason why I believe this is so low is because the Knicks are missing open shots they're not used to getting. So when the Knicks get used to playing in this offense, when the Knicks get used to figuring things out, they will be scoring more points. Now you see, again, it's so early in the season that you cannot count on the statistics. There's a lot of noise there, because 110 points per game probably shouldn't be as low as 27th in the league. But at the same time, what we're looking at here is, will the Knicks be a bottom 5 offense? And if you believe that, then I don't know what to tell you. At the end of the day, the Knicks they're playing a lot more 5 out. They're sharing the ball. They're getting open looks. They're shooting early in the shot clock. They're trying to get out in transition. The New York Knicks offense is going to be a beautiful offense all season. And that means they're going to be a lot closer to top 5 than bottom 5.
Absolutely. So according to Basketball Reference, the Knicks offensive rating, their 22nd offensive rating at 110.86. So that's offensive rating is points per 100 possessions. When that is adjusted for opponent defense, they're 15th at 107.03 points per possession. So I'm with Mensa. This is not going to sustain. This is not going to subside. This is going to subside. It's not going to sustain. Again, even though they're 110 points per game, league average is 118.5. I think it's safe to say that this team, because again, too much talent, too much offensive talent. I can't see them being bottom 5 offense for, by the end of November, much less by the end of the season. So I say that to say there may be some opportunities here to look at some Knicks overs coming up again. So the Knicks have Chicago and a home and home. Chicago has been feisty of late offensively, although keep in mind, with Deuce not playing, Deuce is a vital part of their offense coming off the bench. And if he's out, you may want to approach with a little bit of trepidation, but after the home, actually, no, it's not Chicago. They have at Milwaukee, then is the home and home with Chicago, and then they have Washington the following week. So maybe this week may not be the week to start banging the overs, but to start slamming the overs, but definitely keep in mind because this trend is not going to continue. All right. Next, the New York Knicks are averaging 46.3 threes attempted per game, which is first in the NBA. Mensa, is this a trend or is this a flash?
We know Mike Brown spoke about getting up at least 43s a game. We know the Knicks have some dynamite shooters in Jalen Brunson, Deuce McBride, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns, Landry Shamet, Tyler Kolek, who's been showing me something, and Jordan Clarkson. The Knicks have a lot of shooters. I'm going to go flash just because I expect so the Knicks' best players, Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, while they can shoot a lot of threes, they tend to not like to operate in terms of shooting a ton of threes. I know Jalen Brunson likes to dribble and get downhill, get fouled. Karl-Anthony Towns also likes to drive and kick, drive and finish. So I think that they're maybe not going to shoot as many threes if they've shot over the first 3 games. And then on top of that, I'm expecting the New York Knicks to get more minutes from Mitchell Robinson and Josh Hart, 2 guys who generally do not shoot. Period. Definitely Mitch doesn't shoot. Josh Hart is shooting agnostic, shooting ambivalent. And with them getting more minutes, I don't expect like Mikal Bridges to shoot, who doesn't shoot that many threes, to be honest. I don't expect him to be shooting 8 or 9 a game. OG's been getting them up. Maybe that comes back down. I think what the Knicks are doing is they're kind of overcompensating for not necessarily knowing the offense very well, and they're just getting threes up off principle. But I feel like once the Knicks get more comfortable in this offense and they know where they're comfortable, they know how to hunt shots, and they realize we are extremely talented on the offensive end and nobody should be rushing us. I do expect this number to come down. I expect it to be over 40, but I would expect the Knicks to settle in around 42, 43 threes a game, and I don't expect that to be league leading. So I'm going to say this is a flash.
Last year, the Knicks, which I cannot find here. Oh, yeah. So last year, the Knicks were 27th in the league at 34.1 threes per game. League average last season was 37. This is not going to, I don't think this is going to be, I don't think they're going to, this is a flash. I don't think they're going to shoot 46 threes a game. I think there's, to your point, there's still a lack of cohesion with the offense. So, it's like, what? I'm open. I'm just going to take this 3. Shout out to Benji, who tweeted yesterday that there's shooting too many threes and a loss can be caused to variance. Shooting not enough threes in a loss is because of math, right? So I'd rather be on the side of we lose because of variance or we lose because of math. Shout out to XJ. XJ was calling this out last year from game 1. Like the Knicks would be down 15 or 18 or 21 and try to catch up with 2s. And it's just like, that's math. Like that's not going to work. You have to be able to embrace the threes. Mensa, you and I talk about this all the time. There's no team, Jalen Brunson, we love. No one leads the NBA more in, wait a minute, they just had a shot to go up 7 with 1:12 left. Here comes Jalen Brunson trying to get a layup. Like, nah. And we said it last year, like this team didn't really like to shoot threes, and the head coach, the former head coach, was more than happy with them not taking threes. You're going to see them to take more threes. How does this work in betting? Again, there's going to be variance there. I think the safest bet for threes is Deuce McBride. As long as Deuce McBride, I think Vegas is, I think our friends at FANATICS already caught up to us. I think going into the game against the Heat, him to hit 2 threes is like minus 170 something or something like that. So I would say if you want to look at a 3-point prop, If you can get over 1.5 threes at plus money or like no worse than minus 120, take it. If they're all egregiously high, start looking at 3 threes and look to see which number has the most value. Honestly, I kind of look at Josh Hart because if Josh Hart shoots, he's a boom or bust type of guy. So he can hit 3 in a game, he can hit 0. Sometimes he doesn't necessarily like to take them. I think Cat is also your boom or bust guy because Cat will take 4 a game. Now, it looks like it. So there we go. So those are trends and flashes for this week. Let's keep an eye on those and see what those look like for next week. All right, moving on to our future segment. So we last week looked at how the Knicks are doing certain futures. So now we're going to look at how they're doing from this week after a 2-on-1 week. So this week, the Knicks are plus 1,000 to win the NBA title, which is 4th in the league. I believe the teams that they're behind, and I had this here in front of me. Let me go pull it up. Yes, they're behind Oklahoma City at plus 220, Denver at plus 650, and Cleveland at plus 750, which is interesting because we just put them in a spliff last week. But the interesting thing here is the day after the season ended, I went on FANATICS Sportsbook to bet the New York Knicks to win the title, and their odds were plus 1,000. So they have barely moved. Mensa, what do you take? What do you take from that?
If you can get the Knicks at 10-1 to win the NBA championship right now, a 1/10 of a unit, a 2.5 unit, if you want to put a whole unit, because we do want to emphasize gambling responsibly here. I'm not going to tell you to go put your entire bankroll on it, but I do believe that is a smart money bet. Because at the end, with bets like this, right? If you can get it at plus 1,000 now, even if you don't think the New York Knicks are going to win, I very much expect these odds to get slimmer and slimmer. I don't expect that to stay at 1,000. I expect by the All-Star break, it might be plus 350. When the New York Knicks are number 1 in the conference and ahead of the Cleveland Cavaliers. What you want to do when you're looking at championship odds is the 4 teams ahead of them. Oklahoma City likely to stay ahead of them. Denver is a flip of a coin depending on how their season goes to stay ahead of them because you never know with injury luck. The New York Knicks, and I want to knock on book here. I don't have wood. The New York Knicks have one of the best medical staffs in the game. And right now we're dealing with, we don't have Mitchell Robinson when he comes back. Essentially what I'm trying to get at is I expect the New York Knicks to finish higher than 4th in the NBA in overall record. And that means that these odds are going to get slimmer. So you're going to get an opportunity for an early cash out and make some money if you take this bet. I personally believe that. So I'm going to look to see if I can get this bet once we get off air, because I think that and then as the Knicks win in the playoffs, if you got it at plus 1,000 going into the NBA finals, your bet, if they get to the NBA finals, and we believe they will, it's going to be a lot better. It's going to be like plus 170 and you got it at plus 1,000. So even if you do not think this is a bet that's going to win, we're not necessarily predicting who's going to win the NBA finals. We want to help you earn a little bit of extra money here, right? So I think this is a bet that if you are into futures bets, this is one you should really be considering, because I do not expect these odds to sit at plus 1,000 for the remainder of the season.
And you brought up a good point about cash outs, because sports books, including our friends at Fanatics, will offer a cash out. Now, if you're going to bet, and listen, we do not unit shame here. So whether you want to bet, if you want to bet $100, if you want to bet $10, you want to bet $5, whatever, like Mensa said, bet responsibly. If you're looking to cash out, just know that if you put $5 on this, which would win you 50 if they were to win the title. By the time if the Knicks make the finals and get to June, to Mensa's point, those odds will be plus 1 something or minus 1 something. Your cash out is probably going to be like $23. But hey, if you want $23, take it. But if you put 50 on it, which will win you 500, they make the finals. Now that cash out is going to be in the hundreds. It's not going to be, and depending on how strong how much, if the Knicks are favored, and if they are, how favored they are, that might be, hey, here's $500, right? I personally don't like to cash out, because especially like if I'm putting $10 on this, like it's $10. Like I'd rather the chance to win 100 than to save, they offer me a cash out of $19. But again, you do what works best for you. Really quickly, Knicks to win the conference is plus 250. They're second. They're only behind Cleveland, which I think is a joke, but whatever, it's fine. That's if you feel like the Knicks aren't going to win the championship, but they could definitely win the East, put 250. Because to Mensa's point, I'll let you chime in real quick. Like, if the Knicks finish 55-27, they're gonna be like minus 300 at that point.
Yeah. The Knicks are winning the Eastern Conference this year. I think I've seen enough. I listen, and I spent the majority of this show saying that we can't take too much into account for the first 3 games of the season, and here I am taking everything into account for the first 3 games of the season. I think the New York Knicks are the best team in the Eastern Conference. I think that we have the versatility that other teams don't have. Like, the Cleveland Cavaliers, you may think that they're more talented than us when all is said and done because they have Allen and they have Mobley down there with Garland and Mitchell. At the end of the day, the Cleveland Cavaliers can't play 5 out. They can only play one way. They have to play with a traditional rim protecting big. The New York Knicks can sit a traditional big in there with Mitchell Robinson. The Knicks can play 5 out. The Knicks can out rebound you. They can beat you with size. We can go with Jalen Brunson and 4 guys over 6'6", or we can beat you with speed. We can go with Jalen Brunson, Tyler Kolek, we got Deuce McBride, we got Jordan Clarkson, OG Anunoby playing a stretch 4 role, Karl Towns being the stretch 5, we got Gershon. The Knicks have so much versatility with their lineup that I expect them to be able to answer all questions that are presented to them by other teams, but be unsolvable by the other teams in the Eastern Conference. So giving me plus money to take the New York Knicks to win the conference, I'm taking it day after day. That is a bet that I love.
Well said, Mensa. And then really quickly, division is minus 250. The Knicks are going to win the Atlantic Division. So if you're going to bet this, parlay it with something else. Now, I will say this. Value means getting a number that's not going to be there. And this is to my heavy hitters. If you want to throw a large amount of money on here, like, this number is not going to be there. Like, as the season goes on, this is going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. It'll be like a minus a 500, minus 1,000, whatever. I would say parlay this with something. So, like, if you think Jalen Brunson is going, well, not MVP, because I think Jalen Brunson is still like plus like some ridiculous number. But, like, for example, here's an example. I believed in Andrew Nembhard and Brandon Mathurin for most improved player, but their odds are very short. They're like second or third favorites. You know what I did? I parlayed them with Wemby to win Defensive Player of the Year, because that's his goddamn award until I see it.
For the rest of forever.
Exactly. So, like, I'm trying to see if I can find this here. Oh, yeah, exactly. So I was able to get... So this is on FANATICS Sportsbook. So in the summer, I parlayed, because Wemby was minus 170, and I parlayed him with Mathurin to win most improved at plus 1,500. So that gave me odds of plus 2,441.
I love that.
And I did it. And then I did the same thing with Andrew Nembhard, who was plus 900. Parlayed him with Wemby, who was plus 1,488. So again, when you see a number like this, to get some value out of it, if you think like, and you should think like, the Knicks are winning the Atlantic Division, like, full stop, parlay that with something else, and then get some more value out of there. Okay, we have like 3 minutes, so we're gonna fast forward through these really quickly. The Knicks over 51.5 is minus 175. Over 55.5 is plus 140. Funny, I think the Knicks are going to win 55 games. I was not FANATICS when we looked, did not have 53.5 wins, but I'm pretty sure it's probably like plus 110. I would take the over on that. And if you think they're going to fly past it, consider plus 140 at 55.5.
Yeah. So let's go really quickly. Let's say the Knicks continue with this trend of winning 2 of every 3 games they play, right? So that is going to be 2/3. So about 667 times 82. That gets the Knicks at 54.6, which is 55 wins. So if the Knicks continue on this trend, you might be able to, sometimes I like to parlay the 2, where I'll take the over and the under and just give myself that 3-4 game window. You might be able to make a little money that way. So I think that I would go over with what I'm looking at right now. I would go over 51.5, but under 55.5, which essentially means that if the Knicks win between 52 and 50, between 52 and 55 wins, which is a really good sweet spot there, you'd be able to cash out here. So I like both. Yeah, I would go over 51.5, but under 55.5 on the same slip and see what odds I would get.
Absolutely. All right, we're gonna rapid fire here because the NBA Cup starts this weekend. It starts this Friday. The Knicks, I believe, are playing the the Chicago Bulls. Sorry, they're playing the Chicago Bulls in Chicago. The Knicks to win the NBA Cup are plus 800, third best behind OKC at plus 350. Cleveland at plus 700. Mensa, I know you already believe they're going to win the NBA Cup, so we can just move on. But I'll say this is the bet I like a little bit better. The Knicks to win Group C. They're favorites at minus 115. Now, Group C is the Knicks, the Bucks, the Heat, the Bulls, and the Hornets. My tip here is if you think the Knicks are going to beat the Bulls, take this number now, because if they beat the Bulls, the numbers are going to get shorter. Or what you can do is if you don't take it now, let's see if they beat the Bulls. Then they have the Heat, who the Knicks just lost to. Then they have Charlotte. They have to beat Charlotte. If they don't beat Charlotte, they're probably not going to the next round because, as we've seen with the NBA Cup, you basically have to go 4-0. If you go 3-1, you're kind of in there. So I would take this number now if you really believe in the Knicks.
Yeah, definitely. The Knicks are better than every team in their division. Let's go Knicks. I'm taking that.
So, all right, that is all. I mean, we can talk about who wins Group A and Group B, but who the hell cares? We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Mensa, anything to say before we get out of here?
Same thing I always say, and that is to enjoy the journey. It's a lot harder to enjoy the journey when you got money on down every night if you gamble that way. But look, try your best to enjoy sports. We just lost in New York. We just lost Nick Mangold, and that's a guy who did not win a championship for the New York Jets, but that does not mean that his legacy is any less great than another player who did win, because we celebrate him as one of the all-time greats, not just as a New York Jet, but as an offensive lineman in the NFL. So try your best to not zero-sum your experience. Everything doesn't have to be win or lose. Look, you might win a bet and the team might lose. You still got something there, right? So let's just try our best to stay cordial, to stay happy, and to enjoy the journey every step of the way.
Well said, Mensa. Well said. Rest in peace to Nick Mangold, and thoughts and prayers go out to his family and the entire Jets community. He was absolutely beloved. So again, thanks for joining us today on Weekly Wagers. Please follow us on all of our socials. You can catch us on all our socials at Knicks Film School, SKOOL. Subscribe, rate, and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Please give us a 5-star review. If you want to give less than 5 stars, man, just keep that joint to yourself. Like and subscribe on YouTube. And if you want more content, you can join our Substack or subscribe on Patreon. So for Mensa, I'm Shawn for W. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Knicks Nation, let's ride. If you're out on your bike tonight, do wear white.
Must be 21 or over. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply.